Hi, today I'm going to talk about how to use the PianoForte method, specifically level 1, so getting started with the method and how it's slightly different than other methods and how to use it. So this will be a small series of how to use the method and walking through level 1 and then level 2. And so this video today is all about the first sort of lesson and how to do it. So the thing that's unique about the PianoForte method and in level 1 is that we're introducing the movable solfa syllables. So when you think of the solfa syllables, you can think of the sound of music. Do, a deer, a female deer, re, do, re, mi, all of those. So we're introducing those and the relationship that those have with each other in sound. So for example, the relationship between do and re and so on. So we're introducing these very systematically and in a method to help the students really understand and to hear them, and then how to apply that to the piano. So that's what's different about this method straight away. And the very first lesson has to introduce these really fundamental concepts. So the first lesson, and I call it the first lesson, although sometimes these first lesson concepts can take a couple of weeks depending on the child, how long their lesson is, and how much time we're spending on each little step. So the first things we introduce in the beginning are some really practicalities of concepts that they need straight away. So the first is the hands, so right hand and left hand, and the finger numbers. Now, of course, this is something that sometimes has to be reviewed over and over again so they remember which hand is which and which finger is which, but we introduce in the beginning so we can use it straight away. The second concept that's so important in the beginning that we introduce is the keyboard layout. I don't mean the letters. The letters are introduced in level 2. So what I mean now is honestly just the black and the white keys and practicing seeing the differences between the black and the white keys and seeing that there are how it's organized slightly differently with groups of 3 and groups of 2, which also can take some practice. So that's the second concept that we introduce in level 1 straight away, lesson 1. The third concept is using the voice, because we're going to use singing a lot in this method. This method connects singing to our oral understanding of tonality and pitch and the relationship between pitches, and then that connection is made between that understanding and that sort of internal cognitive understanding and printed notation, which happens in little incremental steps in level 1 and then more traditionally in level 2. So we introduce singing and how the voice goes up and down and how pitch rises and falls and how that is, we can kind of relate that to the high and low area of the piano. Now, those 3 concepts straight away can take a lesson or 2. So it's important that in these first lessons, we're using maybe some drums and we're moving around and we're doing lots of singing so they can go home feeling really inspired by their music lesson. And then when we start to get into the early sort of ideas of now we're going to play the piano, we introduce it with solfa. And this is where this method is unlike any other, because we're introducing it with sound from a movable solfa point of view that we then play on the piano. And so the first solfa syllables we use are so, mi, and I'm using the hand signs that were invented by Kerwin. We can do all sorts of different things to introduce these syllables. We can use body solfa where we go so, mi. You can stand high and low. It's really important that we introduce so, mi as physically interactive as possible so that the student understands that so is higher than me, and that's going to make sense when we apply it to the keyboard. So mi, the very first 2 pitches, and the little song that we sing in the beginning is a so mi song, and it goes like this. I will do it with the current hand signs the way I would do it with a student introducing it. So, 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 mi, 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 so, 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 mi, mi, mi. The whole song goes like that with that exact rhythmic pattern and those exact solfa syllables. Then the words are this, and we would do it exactly the same way, but learn the words so that they can sing it at home. Birds are flying in sky. I can see them passing by, and so on. So they've immediately attached the syllables to the sound and to singing, and then it's an easy transition from that moment to the piano playing. And that's how really the fundamental heart of the pianoforte method is internalizing sound and then using it to play. So I am going to show you, I'll flip around and show you how we introduce the Flying Bird song, which is here, Flying Bird song, and how these first concepts that we've introduced are all interwoven in this first little lesson and allows them to straight away start playing music on the piano. So I'll flip around now and let you see. As you can see, the solfa has been laid out like this. So, 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 me, me, me. And we have an indication for right hand and left hand so that they straight away know that we are assigning high and low to the different hands. But then the unique thing is this little diagram here, which shows the keyboard. Now, this is why we introduced the patterns of the keyboard, the black and white keys, and so that they can match them to the actual piano and they can see them. And as you can see, we're starting off with a left hand number 3 and a right hand number 3. So when we move that to the piano, as you can see, we'll have a left hand here and a right hand here. And it makes it really easy for them to come into a nice shape on the piano. And then they really are just playing these pitches. So using these syllables and matching it to the diagram. And what that means straight away is that they can go home and they can play this piece. They can play this piece and they can sing it in 3 different, what we call positions, but it's in basic transposition. So they are playing it in 3 different keys straight away, which allows them to understand that do can be moved, tonic can be moved, and that the relationships of the pitches remain the same no matter where on the piano you're playing it. So this is Flying Birds. So this is the very first sort of lesson that can take a few weeks depending on the child and how much time we're spending. I will just show you quickly how we've introduced the other topics in this book. So we have a lovely message at the beginning and then some admin. And then of course, the first lesson is the hands. And this is important because they're going to need to know right hand and left hand and the fingers, or they're going to need to know how to find them. Then there's a little exercise on there's loads of supplements as well in the membership to supplement each of these concepts to help them remember. Then we're introducing singing and how the voice goes high and low and really engaging in singing. And then we're introducing the piano keyboard and the differences between the blacks and the whites and the groups of 2 and the groups of 3. Loads of games can be played for these concepts, and there's loads of supplements in the membership that support this. Then, of course, we've introduced this first solfa syllables, so, me, with the hand signs. And then this is very pre-reading, although we don't introduce it that way. We just sing the birds, so, 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 me, 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 me. And they see it on the lines. This is just going in their mind, sort of subconsciously. And we'll introduce lines and spaces in level 2. And then all of that information comes together for a piece that they can play. And this is the very first lesson, the very first early concepts of the pianoforte method. And our next videos will explore more of this method in going along in order, but that's the very first.